Everyone, welcome back. It's Melanie, your She Shed Scrapper. So today I am back with a 2-page layout using quite an old collection, the KaiserCraft Let's Go collection. I actually did this one while I was still in the She Shed, so quite a while ago. And I had to go look at what the collection was actually called because I could not remember. So it is the Let's Go collection from KaiserCraft. I think, and I didn't look this up, but I think my friend Scrappy Jenny K mentioned that they were out of business now. So unfortunately, I'm sure you cannot find this collection. So I am going to be using an off-white base for the layout. I have these 4 travel photos, and I absolutely love the colors of this collection. They're so masculine, but still so pretty. So I am going to end up cutting strips, and I am going to do strips going across the page. This one here is actually going to go kind of be the in-between of the 2 layouts. So I am going to cut the strips different widths and actually cut this blue paper different widths as well. So just kind of a fun way to use up the papers and to switch up a little bit. I don't know. It's not so symmetrical, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. And then the last paper I'm going to use, and I was so thankful that I had 12 by 12 papers. I think initially I was going to try to get away with the 6 by 6 paper pad. But I am loving the full length of these strips here. The one thing I did want to make sure of is I wanted the pattern papers to equal the same width on each page, if that makes sense. I left a little strip of the off-white paper, and I just wanted to make sure that that was even on both sides. So once I got that kind of measured out, I am going to tape them all down. And then you can see that I did go ahead and I matted all of my photos on that same off-white paper. I just wanted to make sure that my photos popped, and because I used so many pattern papers, I knew I needed to at least matte them in kind of, you know, that off-white. So one of the papers had kind of some tags on it, and I decided to fussy cut one out to end up using as an embellishment. I loved the phrase, always keep room in your life for an adventure. This was a family trip we took, probably not our first major one, but yeah, we've, I guess, taken a few now as all of us. I travel all the time by myself. Thank my husband that he allows that. But this was one of our major kind of week-long vacations that we took. So I did end up adding some thicker twine to that tag, and I think I'm going to use it and keep it over to the right of the page there. I do have a couple of acrylic airplanes that I'm going to use as well. Those are from Not Just for Boys. I've had those for quite some time and have not found the perfect collection or layout to use them on, but this was perfect. The colors just work so nice together. So you can see I am going through the ephemera pack and kind of placing pieces as we go. So I have a kind of ticket to the right and a suitcase to the right. On the far left, I have kind of that Polaroid picture, and I'm kind of using that as a base to add another ticket, camera, that airplane, and then a little heart. At the top, I found some luggage and flyaway with another, oh my goodness, I keep wanting to say chipboard, but another kind of cardstock piece of ephemera there. And then I've got the world to the right with another ticket. There were just so many good pieces in the ephemera. I must not have really used this collection much because I feel like any travel collection, you know, you're probably going to use the luggage and the tickets and all of that, and I just had not. So I was actually really happy with all the options I have and love all of the clusters. Each of the clusters just has so many different elements to it. And almost all of them also have all of kind of the colors of the collection in them as well. And I, you know, tried to make sure that if, I don't know, the piece of ephemera was blue, that it wasn't on the blue paper. You know, I want them to stand out, or at least layered on top of another element there. So I am just going to go ahead and kind of commit to all of these clusters, and tape them all down. I do adjust accordingly when I tape them down, but for the most part, everything kind of stays the same. This tag here, I am going to end up adding some twine. And I liked that one. I did cut off the word that was on the bottom of it, but I was still able to kind of tuck it in there and leave the airplane showing and kind of showcasing that airplane. I just really like the way that that looks. And then I am going to, I believe, pop this up on foam tape, that little Let's Go sticker. This was actually, I think, traveling home, unfortunately. But, you know, every... Every trip must come to an end. So I did pop that on foam tape, added the ticket to kind of towards the top. I just felt like it needed something else. I think I had an extra airplane, but because I used the airplane tag, I thought it was a little bit too much. In KaiserCraft 6x6 paper album, or paper pack, they do have kind of some die cuts that like pop out, and that is what that scallop is on page 2. So on page 2, I had added that little scallop underneath of the photo there, and I had trimmed it, and so I did end up adding what was left. I think it was like 2 scallops. I ended up adding that underneath of that baby blue airplane over on the far right cluster. So once this kind of comes together, I do need a title and journaling. So I will get to adding that as well. And looking at the whole layout, the place that made the most sense was underneath the photos on page 1. Lucky for me, too, I have the sticker sheet, and there were some stickers that were travel adventure. So that is going to be my title. I originally thought I was going to add that little camera to the top cluster on page 1, but just didn't like how that looked. And so I'm glad that I kept it, because I am going to end up adding that to the title down here. One thing before I forget, I did stitch this one, and I do plan on adding a video of how I stitch, but unfortunately I had done all of this before one of you guys suggested that video. So it will be coming. I just have to find that perfect layout to stitch on. But what I end up doing is adding stitching all the way down one of the sides of each of the pattern papers. And then some of them I end up adding 2 rows of stitching. So I do have close-ups of that coming up at the end in the video, or in the photos. That's what I wanted to say. So stay tuned for those photos, and that will showcase that stitching. To finish off the layout, I am using these chipboard stars that my friend Scarpy Jenny K gave me from She Loves Color, and I just loved adding those kind of to all of the clusters, just to kind of, I don't know, round out the clusters, finish those off, and I felt like it was a great finishing piece. They do definitely need some glue on them, I have found out. So I think they're Kingston Craft chipboard, but I have figured out that it does need some liquid glue behind it to make them stay. So here are the close-ups. You can see the stitching on that one, and then kind of a little bit on this one. But the other photos really kind of show the stitching, and then the full layout you can see all 3. So I kind of kept the colors like the pattern papers when I chose them, and I really felt like that kind of finished off the layout. And I have really loved stitching. But that is going to finish off this layout, this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.